Okay, basically this chapter is going to be called functions. So we're going to deal with functions. Specifically, we're going to deal with linear functions. Left out the end. That's not a good sign. So linear functions. Here. I jumped ahead of it. All right, the first thing we want to learn about, actually, though, in this section, and I'm going to call this is basically chapter 3 point. It's before the chapter actually starts. We're going back and doing some pre-algebra. We're going to learn about the coordinate plane, or the Cartesian plane. I think nowadays most people just call it the coordinate plane. You did do some kind of assignment where you graphed a bunch of points to remember that. And so we're going to go over that specifically to make sure that you're good at it. And I'm going to try to use a pencil and see if it shows up, because I'm tired of using pens because I can't erase them. Okay. There are erasable pens, thank you. I don't like them. I don't like them because I end up with the erasable pen right here. And so I'm, purple and pink all the time. Just the way I write. All right, that doesn't really show up very good. That's why I don't use it. That's fine. I'll do my axis here. And so we need to remember some things about the different areas here. This is the x-axis. This is the y-axis, right? When we graph a point, we're going to graph the x first and the y second. The reason is the alphabet. X is first in the alphabet, y is second in the alphabet. Okay? So, for example, this point right here, this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay? Remember, if you go up, it's positive. That's negative. Positive, negative. Okay. So we're going to do a little bit of that. Reading points. One of the things that we need to remember, and this is something that a lot of us might have missed or didn't remember, is there are 4 coordinates. Or 4 quadrants, I should have said. 4 quadrants. Okay, and this is how it's going to work. This is going to be quadrant 1. And I write I because you can't see. I write I because of it is, and this is called a quadrant 1. It's Roman numerals. They just like to use Roman numerals. Okay, that's 1. And what is important to remember about 1 is this is basically the real world quadrant where the x is positive and the y is positive. Okay? And in the math world, we usually go counterclockwise. Okay? And so you won't see much of this in Algebra 1 other than the coordinate plane. So this is quadrant 2. And this is where the negative is the x, but the y is still positive. Okay? And basically, the first thing you do is the number line. You do the positives and the negatives. That's why it's quadrant 2. This is quadrant 3. Okay? And it is negative, negative. I also like to call it the sleepy owl quadrant because, like, you can, looks like a sleepy owl, right? Yeah, maybe? Great horned owl, right? Okay. So, but I don't think anybody else calls it the sleepy owl quadrant, but I do because by the time I get to the 3rd quadrant, I want to draw a picture. And this is the 4th quadrant. Very creative names, huh? I like them because they're easy to remember. You just have to remember which way to go, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is going to be positive x's and negative y's. Okay? Does anybody remember what this right here is called, this little middle thing?
The middle?
It is 0, 0.
Yeah, the origami.
The origami. The origin. Hopefully I spelled it right. All right, so that's the origin. I think I already wrote that this is the x-axis. I'm going to do it again just because it makes me happy. This is the y-axis. Okay, so this is half of what we want to do. So using this, I'm going to write this, and I want you to tell me which quadrant this point is in. Which quadrant?
That is the close.
This is 4?
Yeah.
And you can tell because I got a positive and a negative, right?
Yeah.
Okay, how about this one? And let everybody write it down first, and then we can answer out loud. What's this one?
3.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to try to trick you here. So write it down what you think the answer is. Write it down and see what you think the answer is, and then we'll call it out in a second. Shh. Write it down. Okay, we shouldn't hear noise. Write it down, and then we'll call out the answer in a second. What do we think it is? It is the y-axis. It's not in one of the quadrants because of the 0. To graph this point, it would be 0, 3. It'd be right here. It'd be in between two quadrants, right? And that happens to be the y-axis. So you just write y-axis. Any questions? All right. The next thing I'm going to have to teach you, you have to have graph paper. So I'm going to pass that out real quick, and we're going to actually start with your homework. I'm going to do one problem with you, and then you're going to do the rest of them. And then hopefully we have time to start the project. The project. The project. The project. It is not a group.
Oh,
There are times that we get to work on it as a group, but it's not a group project. That's why it's both. It's individual, but at times you can work on it as a group. But you don't have to. Graph paper, drawing dots. This is thrilling video right here, by the way. It's thrilling. But you need the graph paper because you can't do the stuff without the graph paper. All right. I know this is super, super duper exciting. Okay, you probably need the stuff that I'm going to pass out next to be able to do your work. It does say 4.1 on here. It's because it comes from a different book, which is actually older than you guys. But
it's older than my mom.
this is 21 years old.
Oh, that's my 21.
You are? Congratulations.
That would be sad to be a freshman.
They don't let 21-year-olds be freshmen. They kick you out.
So what's the oldest you can be to be a freshman?
20?
20? Really?
I
Are you
thought
serious?
it was like 17. Yeah, you guys said
What about those people that redo school at their...
I mean, you're not going to be here,
Yeah.
but you still can be a freshman someplace else.
You're going to be sent to a special.
Because here you have to be like below 17 when you go.
Yes, for special.
All right, now that we have this piece of paper, we're going to need to look at it, and I'm going to help you with the problems. But the first thing I want to do is I want to go over some of these graphs here. So look at 18. We're gonna do 18 together. And 18 is not hard. It is something that's pretty easy, but we need to remember how to do it. And see if this picks up very good. I don't think it does.
It does.
I need a different color of graph paper to work. This one, I actually like this color the best if I'm working on it, but I need this. This shows up a little better on.
It looks better.
Yeah. All right, so this is how we're going to do 18. It looks to me like on 18, all of these numbers are positive, right? So I don't need all the quadrants. I just need quadrant 1. So I'm going to draw my little graph here. You like that? I'm working on it. They put like a shadow person here, and I was going to like ink it and then maybe make them exciting. All right. All right, let's get back to this, and let's look at 18. I don't want to number 1 through 36. I don't think I want to do that. Of course, it says H right here. It says H and D. That's going to end up being X and Y, right? Okay, so hourly pay, this table shows the number of hours worked and the corresponding pay in dollars. Make a scatter plot of the data. Let each order pair have the form of HD. So H is X, D is Y. Okay, so probably I want to do a scale. This is reasonable. I could do like 2, 4, 6, 8. That's a reasonable size graph, isn't it? So I basically counted by 1. I don't want to count all the way up to 36. So maybe, what do we think, 3s? Like 3, 6, 24, 30, 36. Is that reasonable? Why did you guys say 24? Okay. I'm going to skip. So I'm going to, instead of writing 3, 6, I'm just going to write, so I have room to write, I'm going to write 6, 12, 18, 24, 36. Okay. Okay, yes. That's how you count by 6s. Okay, do we need to go over how to count by 6s? It's going to be a long, long day of homework because we're not going to do it during class time. We're not repeating the 3rd grade here, so we can count by 6s. All right. Shh, stop messing up the recording. All right. We need to graph points. So the first one says 1, 4.5. Well, where's 4.5 going to be here? Is it going to be above 3? And below 6?
Yeah.
Maybe here?
Yeah.
Is that close enough?
Yeah.
Okay, try to do 2, 9. That one is actually a point, a line. And I wish it was a little bit more clear. It probably is more clear on the video. All right, 313. 313.5, I guess. So I guess that's above 12, right? So maybe here? Close enough? Sometimes you just got to get close enough. I'm not going to get out a really small ruler and measure. Yeah, you got to get close enough. 5, let's see, go 5 here. 22, that's going, it's like maybe here? Close enough? And 8 is 36, right? All right. So this is all we got to do on these. This is the beginning of this. The real life application of graphing points. Well, we want to put points in a pattern so we maybe can do something with it. We're just not going to do something with it yet. We got to get better at graphing before we start doing things with it. At the end of the chapter, we will, well, maybe not at the end of this chapter, maybe at the end of the next chapter, we might do something with it. But for now, I just want you to graph it. Okay? So you don't have to redo 18 because we just did it, right? So I put 18 at the top of your page. Let's go to 1. Okay, 1. Do we have to graph 1?
No.
It's already graphed for us. What are we supposed to do?
Label A, B, C, and D, including the front.
You actually do because you just said the directions. So you do know. Have confidence. So then I'm going to write B as what? Does everybody see what I'm doing?
0, 4.
Does everybody see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to make you do 1, 2, 3 by yourself. 4. What am I going to do on 4? I need to draw a little thing, right?
You draw the triangle.
Okay, and I'm going to graph these points. Okay, I'm going to graph the first one, 2, 2. 2, 2. And I'm going to label it. I'm going to label it A. Guess what I'm going to label the second one? Guess what I'm going to label the third one? All right. Here's what I don't want you to do. I see people do this all the time. They do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 all in the same graph, and it just looks like, basically this is what their graph looks like. I mean, sure, all the points are going to be in that little colored pink area. So 4 gets its own graph with A, B, and C. 5 gets its own graph with A, B, and C. Okay, now moving on to 10. 10's easy. We just did 10, right? What's 10? What's the answer to 10 real quick? What is it? Is that right? Quadrant 1. All right, we just took notes on that. Come on now. All right, and then 19 and 20, you're going to just do just like 18. All right, that's it. Let's get this whole worksheet done.